Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday morning edition of Mornings with Stanley. Got Stanley here. Looks she's in the other room. And as she seems to be every day these days, I woke up and I asked Alexa, what time is it? And she said, it's 6:19. It's like, Alexa, why didn't my alarm go off? She said, you did not set your alarm. Oops. I set my alarm to go off every day at 5:30 in the morning on the Alexa app. And evidently, I was having trouble with the music because I wanted Mozart to wake me up. And so I couldn't get Mozart to work, so I switched it to Bach. And evidently when I switched it to Bach, I forgot to switch it to every day. So it didn't go off. So now I've set it to go off every day to, what is it? I don't remember. I'm not doing classical. Classical doesn't seem to work. I didn't like the Bach music that I woke up to. I thought this sounds too modern. And postmodern to be. I just wanted something beautiful, and it wasn't very beautiful. So maybe it was Bach, or maybe it was some variation on Bach. I don't remember. I like to wake up to Christian music on Sunday morning, so I've got Fernando Ortega on. He's my favorite gospel singer. Well, he and Cynthia Clausen, but Cynthia Clausen doesn't have a whole lot on Apple iTunes. And so Fernando Ortega on Sunday mornings. And then I have I think it must be Simon and Garfunkel and Linda Ronstadt. The rest of the week, I don't remember which days they are, but Wednesday is a 5:15 wake up call so I can get to the church for our Wednesday morning prayer group. Anyway, I'm telling you all this stuff. He's like, Andy, what's wrong with you? Why are you? I have no one to talk to with these dogs and they don't respond. Of course, you don't respond either. Occasionally, one or two of you will like my video, and I don't know what that means. But anyway, yesterday I finally planned my vacation. I've been looking. When I went to Arkansas, I was in north central Arkansas, north central Arkansas, and it's kind of in between the Ozarks and the Ouachita Mountains. And I went to Mount Magazine, which is the tallest mountain in Arkansas, and it's just a few miles away from Subiaco where I was staying, and it looked so much like New Hampshire and Vermont, where I went 2 years ago. I went to Massachusetts. I went all through Connecticut. I hit all the New England states. And so I went to, Lucy's coming in here. I thought I'll go back to New Hampshire, and somehow I ended up changing my mind and going to Vermont. And I was looking for inns when I went there last time, I stayed at a little inn in Connecticut, and then an inn in New Hampshire, and then an inn for several days in Concord, Massachusetts, which, the original inn has been there forever, but the part I was staying in was built in the 70s. But I was looking, and I found an inn in Stowe, Vermont. So I couldn't find anything really close to where I wanted to be, which I was looking for, I do genealogy stuff when I go up there, and my great-grandfather was from near Haverhill, New Hampshire. And I thought I'd go stay up there, but there's no inns close to there. Franconia Inn, which is where I stayed last year, was all right. Or 2 years ago, I didn't really want to go back there and stay a while. So I started looking in Vermont. And Stowe, Vermont, I think it's about an hour away from Haverhill, hour and a half away from Haverhill. Probably not more than 60 miles away, but just because the roads are narrow and hilly, the speed limit's slow. It's just lower than here, of course, so it takes longer to get there. But so I decided there are several. I was going to the Von Trapp Inn. The Von Trapp family inn is there at Stowe, and I thought I'll stay there. Well, evidently they're closed, and so I found another inn in Stowe called the Brass Lantern Inn, and I had a room that was fairly reasonably sized, a little more than I wanted to pay, but so I finally have been looking at different dates, trying to figure out what I was going to do, working with Brenda's vacation because she and John have to go this 1 week, and I wanted to finish this preaching stuff I'm doing on Jeremiah before I left, and I wanted to coordinate so I wouldn't be out of town the same time Brenda was out of town, and I told another pastor that I might be able to be her backup call when she's on vacation. She said she was going in August. I didn't want to go too far into August. So I finally ended up in the last week of July and the first week in August. I'm going to take 2 weeks off, but only 1 week I'm going to be out of town. Anyway, so I'm going, and I looked, after I booked all that, well, I booked the airfare and got a car. That was another thing I was worried about because I've heard that it's hard to get rental cars. Well, I got a car. So, so that's all set. And the only thing is I went back to the inn to book my room, and only somebody had already booked the 2 cheapest rooms, which are the ones I wanted. They didn't have a lot of rooms there. So I ended up with a larger room and a more expensive room, but I think I'm going to be happier since I'm going to be there for several days. Because sometimes there's not a whole lot I want to see. I want to go to Haverhill and just kind of see if I can find out where my great-great-grandmother was from, who she was. I know her name, but I don't know who her parents were. I have an idea, and I'd like to see if I could find some evidence supporting it. And she doesn't have a lot of ancestors, a lot of descendants. So I'm thinking that that's why people just haven't been interested in her. And my dad never took a trip up there to try and find any of this. I don't think he ever went to New Hampshire to visit. I'm surprised he didn't. I'm surprised he didn't go to Massachusetts to see all the Tyler stuff. But instead, he went from his parents and grandparents and great grandparents. So he spent all his time in Missouri, where his parents grew up, and Iowa, Kansas, where he grew up in Kansas too for a while. He was born in Texas, but lived a while in Kansas, and a lot of his family was in Kansas, and in Iowa, where the Tylers and the Spurriers were for a while. I don't think he ever made it to Ohio, where everybody was before they went to Iowa, at least on that branch of the family. The Tylers came from New Hampshire to Iowa, and I don't think he ever went to New Hampshire. I don't know if he ever wanted to and just never was able to, or what. But anyway, I'm telling you everything. But the really exciting thing was, I was talking to a friend of mine last night on the phone, and I got on my iPad and was looking at temperatures in Vermont, and in Stowe, Vermont, where I'm going to be staying. And the average temperature in July and August while I'm there is in the 70s, and the average lows are in the 50s. And I'm thinking, I made the right choice. I made the right choice. I did see that in January, the average high in Stowe, Vermont is 17. And I'm thinking, yeah, I made the right choice to not go on. Not in July, January. Did I say July? January. January, it's 17 degrees high. I'm going to be in Cleburne, Texas. It's not going to be 7. Well, I don't know. We had that cold spell in February, didn't we? But it won't be our average temperature. Okay, Stanley, I'm going to kick you out. I don't know why I ramble so much, except I have nobody to talk to with these dogs. I did talk to a friend last night on the phone, so I guess I do have other people to talk to. I do have 1 or 2 friends in the world. That friend was very sad because I'm not going to Virginia for my vacation. Well, she wasn't really that sad, I'm sure. I do have some friends in Virginia, and I love Virginia. I love living in Richmond. But I decided the mountains of New Hampshire and Vermont were calling me. So here, and it gets hot. In July and August, I might as well be in Texas if I'm in Virginia around Richmond. It's hot, as hot there as it is here. This is Tuesday of week 6. Insight therapy to no avail. We finished yesterday in calling attention to those who try to get rid of condemnation by saying there is no guilt, hence no condemnation. Before 7,000 members of the American Psychological Association in a recent meeting, Albert Ellis said, "No human being should be blamed for anything he does. Therapists must rid their patients of every vestige of their blaming themselves, others, or fate, or the universe. The more sinful and guilty a person tends to feel, the less chance there is that he will be a happy, healthy, or law-abiding citizen. That's the end of the quote. If there is no God and no moral universe, then there is no alternative except this one of trying to wipe out condemnation by trying to wipe out guilt. The method is a dead failure. The psychiatrists themselves witness more and more. In that same conference, O. Hobart Maurer, psychologist of the University of Illinois, said, "Our mental hospitals are full of patients who have had insight therapy to no avail. I see no alternative but to turn against the old, painful, but also promising possibility that man is preeminently a social being, or in theological phrase, a child of God. Future treatment of the emotionally ill will, like Alcoholics Anonymous, take guilt, confession, and expiation seriously and will invoke programs of action rather than mere gropings for insight." That's the end of the quote. That is the turning point of the road for psychology, from futility to fruitfulness. It is a turning back to the Christian faith, which teaches forgiveness and the wiping out of condemnation from the conscious and the subconscious. Without the cleansing of the subconscious, this verse is descriptive. The wicked are like the tossing sea, for it cannot rest, and its waters toss up mire and dirt. That's Isaiah 57:20. Here's our prayer for today. Oh Jesus, without your forgiveness and the wiping out of condemnation, our subconscious tosses up mire and dirt. We are filled with nameless dreads. But if you, the Son, make us free, then we are free indeed. I thank you. Amen. Our affirmation for the day. Who forgiveth all thine iniquities? Who healeth all thy diseases? Forgiveness and healing are intertwined. Jesus is Lord.